Hello and welcome along to Moss Valley. With the grass in field 25 mulched, we can finally get the sorghum planted in the field. Meanwhile, the weeds in the barley field need removing with the hoe. Let's get farming. I was slightly worried about how today was going to go because, as you can see at the moment, we do have rain forecast. Fortunately, it's only a short shower in the next hour or so, so we should be all right. We're going to set this tractor up then doing this field here. Let's clear what we've got off and grab a new course. And then basically the same setup as we had on field 32. The generator fieldwork course. And this should go up and down the field. Yep. And in fact, the start point is right here as well, as is the stop point for it too. So let's just get this into position, unfold it. First waypoint is where we're going to start it from, and away this will go, which is perfect because we can just leave the 8340 to the job while we go do some planting. Before we head out to the field though, we need to get this refilled. So let's open the cover on it, and we've got a couple of bags of seeds here and 3 bags of the fertilizer. The rain is coming down now. It's not going to last very long, this though, thankfully. I was really worried that we were going to end up with a big issue here today where we weren't going to be able to get all of this in the ground. So we can spend our time loading up with the seed and the fertilizer while the rain comes down. I have to pull my forks in a little bit. There we are. Right, and then we can get this loaded up. This JCB has been a real surprise for doing these jobs. I always thought we were going to end up using the front loader for it, but the front loader, of course, just can't reach far enough to get these to load. Up, then, and over, and in. Perfect. Get that loaded up, and that is both of those bags in. Oh, I hope we have enough fertilizer to get this done, because that is not great to see both of those go in without any left over. However, we do have one more bag. Seed, I think we're fine. We've got a lot more seed left in the seeder here than we have fertilizer. Oh, that was in the right place. There we go. Get that loaded in, and then yeah, just some seed in the front. So that is nowhere near full on that, whereas seed, I think we're going to be left over with seed because we have 2 very full big bags here. The 25, of course, is smaller than our other fields, so it shouldn't be too bad for that. And it doesn't need a massive amount of fertilizer, I don't think. We'll give that a quick check though. We need to get both these bags over. There we are, both bags over. And just looking at the fertilizer state of this field, yeah, it's not quite as bad as the others were. It's got 20 kilograms per hectare already instead of the 0 that most of the rest of our fields had. But that is still going to be quite a thing. Now, there is one thing I need to check here, in that we've got on our scores, this area here is only getting a 42. And it's only getting a 42 because it's basically low on everything. If I deselect that area, yeah, soil sampling is bad for it. But to soil sample that area is going to be a ridiculous price. So the fact that we own all the roads and everything around this map is just harming us really badly. It might be one of those things where we have to get rid of that section or get rid of owning that between goes, or between sales, just to make sure that we have enough money, or that we're not harmed at all with our precision farming at all. Right, let's get that covered up. So, oh, do I not have that on here? I'll have to do it through here. Close that up. Start the tractor up, and we'll head down to the field. I'm just hoping at the moment we're not going to be getting too deep in the mud if we go and start to do stuff. We should be fine, I think, on a grass field. But our weeder might be having a little bit of trouble over on GamingFFC if it can't get through that field because of this mud, or because of this rain. It's not too bad at the moment. It is a little bit muddy, and it is sliding a slight bit, but it should be all right. I think once this clears up, it'll be fine. So I'm still not 100% sure exactly how I'm gonna seed this field. What I think we need to do is have a look, and look at the grass is giving us a really good base to work on. I think I'm gonna have to follow my own advice and go across the field to seed this. I know we went up on a big diagonal, but I think this is going to be better overall for harvesting it, for working on it. It still is a little bit downhill by the looks of things, but I think we'll be all right. We need to change our crop to the sorghum and line ourselves up. I want to leave a little bit of headlands to finish the field off. Start it up. And then I want to make sure that we have a good GPS set up on this. So turn the GPS on, and we are going at, I think we want to be going at 16 degrees on here. So under the GPS, we'll do A+ heading, and we'll go 16 degrees. Set that. Set our width. Down with this, and away we go. And yeah, this job should be much easier because we don't have any rain, but also because we're on the grass. I think it's made the ground a little bit slick because that is wobbling a little bit, that cedar. But yeah, that rain is gone, and we can just get this job done. I'm doing stripes across the field now that I'm out of the bottom part of it, because we want to work our way back down to the bottom end of the field, and it's easier to turn around with this tractor if I'm doing the stripes like this. And of course, GPS affords me the ability to do this. It makes it very easy to keep track of things on the field with this kind of setup. So it works out really well for us. But the reason for not wanting to do much maneuvering with this tractor is that you go into reverse and it puts it into first gear in reverse, which is really annoying. I would very much like to go into a much higher gear in reverse, but you can see here straight into first gear, even though I was in 15th going forwards. So a little bit of backing off is fine, but anything more than that and it begins to get really time consuming to do it. So we'll bring this round, line ourselves up for the next row, down with the cedar, and away we go. And so it's making it a really simple way to do this. The other thing is we should end up back down at the bottom end of the field when we want to do the headlands, which is perfect. The other advantage to planting sorghum on here is it's not requiring as much nitrogen as some of the other crops that we're growing are. We are only doing 130 kilograms per hectare at the moment. which is much lower than the 70 to 80 that we were doing on other fields. Part of that is because we actually have a decent amount of nitrogen in the soil here already. We're sitting between 20 and 30 per hectare, or 20 or 30 kilograms per hectare here, which is not too bad at all. And of course, the lower end of the field wasn't loam, it was the sandy loam, which requires less anyway. Up the top here, we're getting into the loam. We are requiring more actual nitrogen on the field, but I think we're going to be okay. We still have 50% of the amount in here, the total amount we can fit in here, and we started at just over 60. So as long as we don't use too much on the top end of this field, I think we're going to be absolutely fine to get the rest of this done. I'm very pleased how quickly we've managed to diversify things on this farm. We've gone from just having the 2 crops the first year to now having 4 crops. We're going to be looking at having a decent amount of all of those to harvest. We're going to be making flour off of them, although I am a little bit concerned as to exactly how much flour and how much actual bread we can make. The bread seems to be a fairly low speed process, and as a result I'm not sure we could get anywhere near as much through the bakery as I'm hoping to increase the price of it. But we do have a decent windmill going. It's actually creating enough pig feed, the windmill, that we possibly won't have to use any of our crops to make pig feed this year. It's looking really quite nice, the amount of pig food that's coming out of that. It's created enough food to feed at least one of our lots of pigs for the year, and we're looking at creating enough to feed both of them by the time the actual crops get harvested this year. So that's really good. However, that is enough pig food that it's creating to feed our current number of pigs. I very much want to increase our number of pigs and see if we can actually make some decent cash off of those in the next year to pay everything off. We're going to have a good idea of how we're doing at the end of this harvest. With just a year to go after that, we've got to make a decent amount of money and then either reinvest it to make more, or we're going to have to turn around and just hit the second year hard and hope that we make enough. It's a strange situation to be in, but we will at least know at the end of this harvest how likely it is that we're actually going to be able to reach this target. Gets really fiddly at the top end of this field, trying to get everything into position and round. We should be all right. If I can get turned around and get back on track for the way down, we should be fine. So that down. Yeah, we've filled in this top end bit. But yeah, using the GPS up here is hard because we're doing such small turns in this top little bit of the field as to be impossible to set the GPS and have my equipment in the right place when I do. So we're just doing it a little bit by eye up here, and I think we'll be fine doing it that way. And then we can get back to using the GPS once we get into the lower sections of the field and filling everything in. There's still the annoying little bit like this where it's up in here. We need to get this filled in because obviously if we don't fill that in, then we'll have a lot of fiddly work to do later on. But it has worked out fairly well so far. I'm hoping that we'll get down to the bottom end of the field and we'll be the right side. If not, as I get closer to it, what I'll do is I'll go and correct and make sure that we are actually in the right place. I'm having to reverse all this up, trying not to jackknife the seeder. But it's all falling into place at the moment. We've got a single headland. We seem to have good coverage. It's all good. And that means that we should be able to get this all done today, which is very good, as this is the last. Well, we need to get this in today. It will still be available next month to plant this. But of course, it'll start sprouting. We need to get it rolled, and we don't want to have half a field done when we'll end up then having a split harvest on it, and that just isn't a good thing. As fiddly as this field is, I think we could possibly have benefited from the super steer version of this tractor on here, which has the front wheels much further out the front and are much more maneuverable. It's not too bad, and we are turning these corners without too much hassle. But yeah, as fiddly as this gets, especially up the top end of this field, that might have been useful. We are able to spin round though in general and get ourselves into the right position, get that lined up, down with the seeder, and yeah, it's doing okay. It is just coming up to 3 o'clock. We are nearly halfway back down the field, so we're making good time. The only thing worrying me right now is whether we're gonna be able to also get this rolled, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Rolling this should go fairly easily. We've got to cross the slope for the most part, so we're not having to drag the roller up the hill that much, and as a result I think it's going to end up giving us a much easier time towards the end and make it much easier for us to get the field all done. Just quickly checking on the weeder, and it's doing a fantastic job down here in the GamingFFC field. We have 2/3 of it done, so that's brilliant. This is going to be freed up in no time. I think we're probably going to have to travel back along one of these rows, because we go up on this one, back on the next, up on the following one, back on the next. We're going to end up on this side of the field with our last row being an up. So as a result, we need to really reposition ourselves so we end up the other side of the field. So probably the penultimate row, I will just pop back this side of the field and go across here, and we'll end up with 2 rows. Yeah, end up with 2 rows that we need to go back on. So that should be fairly good, lined up, and then just a single headland around the whole field. I think I'd have preferred, with the difficulty of maneuvering, to have done 2 headlands at the end of the day, and live and learn going forwards, because yeah, it's even with as good as this tractor is at turning, we're still having to back quite a way into the field to there in order to keep the tractor on the field while I'm doing the turn. There we go. And what I'm going to do is come down here. We'll take the middle row back down, and then we'll come back up here and finish up on the bottom row there. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to be the wrong side of the field when we finish up. Just gone 4 o'clock as we come to finish the final row, and we've still got 27% left of the fertilizer, which is fantastic news. I am amazed we've managed to get around this whole field without needing to refill the fertilizer, but the fact that it's worked has been great. We can use I have just thought of the use for the remaining seeds that we've got back up at the farm, and that is really, or actually the remaining seeds we've got in here, which is nearly 2,000 liters. And that is going to be to go into the garden. So we'll be able to fill the garden, make more lettuce with these, and that will work out really well for us. So all good. We are in a really decent position. Just need to get this field finished off. And in fact, I might go and grab another tractor and get the roller started on here because, well, time is running out and getting a roller going on here will be really useful to us. So yeah, I'm gonna go and do that quickly as well. I think this is gonna be a pretty close thing because our TM155 here has 155 horsepower and the recommended amount for these rollers is 160. I'm hoping that as it's not going up the hill much, it should be fine. But we do need to get it actually going. So we'll get it up there. We'll get it set up. And that will hopefully clear this off for the day. So we'll bring it into the bottom side of here. It was 16 degrees that this was planted at. So we want to do that as well. So we will do manual on here, and 15 degrees is the closest we can get. So it'll be a degree out. And yeah, let's give it a try, see what happens. Yeah, that's looking fairly good, although it wants to start at the top. That's not a huge problem. We should be able to do that. Let's take it up there, get it started, because it's gonna have quite a wide headland, this, so I'm not too worried about that. As long as this can turn itself round, that's all good. Yeah, it's really fiddly up this top end of the field here, and you can see how much of a headland space it's going to give itself. So unfold. Get it in position, and then it can be as fiddly as it likes at the top here while we finish off the headlands with the cedar. Right, and away you go. Roller seems to be navigating its way through the top part of that field without too much issue, and we are now heading down this side. So that has got everything done fairly well. We are, I have cleared up a couple of bits and just sort of the edges where I turned in and things hadn't been quite lined up. But otherwise, yeah, this has gone pretty smoothly today. There is one thing I am going to have to do off camera. Next day in May, there's only one job to do on the farm, and that is going to be to weed this field. I will get it weeded, but then we're going to skip time forwards a bit because at that point there isn't anything else to do on here other than get the harvest started. So we're going to do that. We're going to get the harvest started and everything going there. I'm going to leave the roller going while we head back up to the farm. At 10 to 6, we are all done for the day. The roller will get finished. The weeder is already finished. And the farm is looking great. All that remains is for me to say
thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below, follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.